一座庙啊，其实就是一个艺术品，就是大型的公共艺术。一个庙不要只停留在只有祭祀的功能，也是一个活的一个艺术馆。
Welcome back to today's program here on the Taiwan Outlook. I'm your host, Raymond Wu. We will continue our discussion with Ms. Michelle Liu, who's the sales manager at the Grand Hotel here in Taipei. Michelle, I couldn't help but, having a lot of, the camera crew and production people ask me if you could show pictures of the secret passageway that we had discussed in the earlier part of the program. And you have a picture here with you.
Right.
Yes.
It's right over here.
Okay.
As you can notice.
Yeah, well, we'll try to get a angle on it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very nice. Yes.
And as I mentioned before, it's both on our west and east side of the hotel.
Okay.
Has this underpassage.
Okay.
Yeah, and it helps for the evacuations
purposes.
Only.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Michelle, I could see from the picture that there are actually two ways of getting down. One is through the slide, the other one is through the stairs. And is there any particular reason for the two, different ways of getting down to the passageway?
Yeah.
Okay.
For the slides, actually, it's for the elderly.
Elderly.
Right.
Or
and
physically
impaired.
Okay.
And the stairs for, of course, people like you.
Okay. Healthier,
Healthy,
younger. Yes.
And you can run down the stairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And currently, this is not open to the public, but only for hotel guests who are staying with you, or for media when they're putting a special petition to visit the passageway. Yes. But this is certainly, one of the biggest, mysteries that people used to talk, when they talk about, the Grand Hotel.
Yes.
But also, in addition to these secret passageway, that when we talk about the Grand Hotel, a lot of times it will be like the second national guest house, for Taiwan for many years, because many, important political leaders, heads of state, and minister and above have stayed at your hotel. I can see that today you brought some pictures with you, and some of the very important leaders, from all around the world that have stayed at your hotel. Can you share with us some of them?
Right. Thank you.
Okay.
For the former president of the United States, Richard Nixon.
Okay, good.
And also we'll have a picture out here.
Yes.
It's the dried Eisenhower.
Yes.
Yes. And
when he visited Taiwan back in the 50s.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
And this is Madam Chang.
Chiang Shek, of course.
Right. And
yes.
she's greeting.
Yeah, receiving him.
Right.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Good.
And also we have Bill Clinton.
Oh, good.
Yes.
But when he was the governor of Arkansas, right?
Yes, during timing he visited.
Okay.
And
I know Ronald Reagan.
Yes,
was California
there too.
Governor.
Right,
was
and
there
he
too.
was there too.
Okay.
And for the Prime Minister, former Prime Minister, we have actually Margaret Thatcher, the Great Britain.
Yes,
and
when she visited back in the 1990s. Yes.
Right, during the time. And also former Prime Minister Shigeru Yoshida, who's a Japanese Prime Minister.
Okay.
And then we have also very frequent guests, which is the former Prime Minister of Singapore,
yes,
Lee Kuan Yew.
Yes.
And he came to our hotel about 24 times almost.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All
So,
right.
and other countries, example of a King of Tonga is the Tupou IV.
Okay.
And for him, we have a little story to share.
Okay.
Yeah, and probably later on or now we can talk about it.
No, why don't we go to another picture I think you brought with you. That's the Saudi Arabia king.
Yes, Faisal.
Faisal.
Yes.
That was back in the 1970s, right? When Saudi Arabia is still a diplomatic ally of Taiwan. Of course, next to him was, Generalissimo, the former president, Chiang Shek, and Madame Chiang Shek. Yes. And the king had, I suppose, a delegation with him.
Right.
And then how big was the delegation with the king of Saudi Arabia? Probably up in the 50s, 60s, I guess. Yeah, you imagine.
So.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And then, you know, because they are, you know, from Muslim countries,
right.
do they, you know, have a special request in terms of dietary needs and
yes,
things?
in the hotel, actually, we're very pay attention to cater all different guests from around the world.
Yes.
For people from the Middle East,
yes.
or they due to their religion requests,
yes.
we definitely will prepare a special service for them.
Good.
And at that point, that our F&B, which is a food and beverage, the chefs will actually order special ingredients from a special market just
okay.
to actually avoid to catering
yes.
to the needs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know, Michelle, because we look at the past 60 years of the grand history, there must be numerous very important political leaders or people of opinion leaders or people from the cultural industry, yes. Entertainers that have stayed at the Grand Hotel. And given the fact that you are the sales manager, you're probably the first person that when the important leader comes to Taiwan and they want to stay at the Grand Hotel, that our government agency will contact. You'll be the first person that received the call, whether it's from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or Economic Affairs or whatever. And how would you then handle the request, for example, of the special needs of a particular delegation or a particular king or president or prime minister to make sure they have a very comfortable and memorable stay at the Grand?
Yes, of course. We actually normally we have a contact agency that they will give us a direct information about either if it's an important guest, if it's a king, or if it's a ambassador, president, and they will give us a detailed information about it. And normally those are confidential, so we will treat it as a confidential information that we will passing through a hotel that all the departments that knows about how to take care of our guests when they arrive. So this is very important and for being a hospitality industry, you have to pay more attention into details.
Of course.
So more details that you'll be able to provide to the guests and more the satisfaction that the guests will be received. So we will all ensure, especially the Grand, that we're definitely on the top of
the arrangements, yes.
Right.
But one thing is that because these are very important political leaders, from different countries around the world, some of which are diplomatic allies, the security, their safety, of course, is a top, concern, for the hotel as well as for our government. So, in terms of the protocol that's needed to make sure that they have not only a comfortable stay, but also a safe stay at your hotel. Is that something, pretty much that the Grand Hotel, because you've, received so many guests over the years, you probably have, pretty much down the routine and the necessary preparations that you need to make sure that the safety and security requirements are met. Is that true? Yes,
it's very true indeed. The Grand Hotel, actually, we have been received more than 2,000 important guests around the world.
Yes.
And of course, safety is one of the best reasons they choose our hotel. Not just because the Grand is actually right on the hill, but yet our security, we do a very good job. We cooperated with the local police office as well, and they were supporting us when the time needed.
Yes.
So we'll make sure that the guests stay with us, that they will receive the best security service during the time they visit.
Okay. Let me ask you, Michelle, over the past 2+ years that you have been with the Grand, was there any particular, guest that, stay at your hotel? You don't have to tell us names, but, during the stay that there was something, memorable that you remember from the experience. Anything that you can share with us?
I would say probably one of the leader from mainland.
Okay.
And during the time when he stays with our hotel.
Okay.
Pretty much our hotel has to book, has actually not be able to receive all the guests. So we excluded all other guests just to accommodate him to stay with our hotel. And then make sure that his security is on the top of notch. And then we make sure that all his meetings and all the meetings that went through well. That's probably one of the meetings.
Most memorable experience.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And also you mentioned earlier that the former Prime Minister of Singapore, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, certainly every time that he comes to Taiwan, the Grand Hotel will be his preferred choice. And he has stayed at your hotel over 24 times. Can you tell us a little bit, maybe from experiences that others, your co-workers, might have accumulated, in terms of, make sure that your political leader of Mr. Lee Kuan Yew's, stature is well taken care of, and all the needs are met, and make sure that he has a comfortable and safe stay at the Grand.
Yes, the Grand Hotel, as you mentioned, we receive a lot of important guests.
Yes.
And Lee Kuan Yew, the Prime Minister, former Prime Minister of Singapore, he can visit us for more than 24 times.
Yes.
According to our butler, because the Grand Hotel has a really good butler service, and very personal as well.
Good.
And according to them, they were telling me Lee Kuan Yew actually, Mr. Lee, he actually enjoy his morning exercise.
Yes.
And before his exercise, and he will actually drink a glass of warm water to actually give himself a little comfort before his jogging. And he will normally jog around our hotel, enjoying the view from the hotel down to our club, and then back and forth.
Okay.
And then also, if during the raining day, he would jog around on the presidential suite.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Before we end this part of the program, Michelle, can you tell us a little bit about the Grand Club? I know you mentioned earlier before the taping started that you are still recruiting members. Can you tell us what are some of the facilities available at the club, and also what kind of entertainment or activities that you can offer to individuals and families who are interested in joining?
Yes, our Grand Hotel Club is actually was to accommodate many important guests as well, and then exclusive for the membership. During that time, there's a lot of famous people that actually join the membership too.
Okay, good.
And from the 2 years ago, and roughly about 2 years ago, we actually finished the renovation to complete. Rebuild a lot of interior and to enhance the club into a high class or five-star class of the club facilities.
Okay, good.
Right.
All right. And it's still open for new members to join the club.
It's definitely welcome the new members, but then because the numbers limited, so it had to
move fast.
Yes, move fast.
And also, since you're watching our program today, Michelle will give you a discount. I'm just kidding. All right.
I will have a negotiation with our club manager.
All right. Well, we'll need to take the final break on the program today, and when we come back, we'll wrap up this very interesting conversation with Miss Michelle Liu, who is the sales manager at the Grand Hotel here in Taipei. I'll see you in just a few minutes.
侨委会构筑侨胞永远的家。侨委会教你看台湾。
自然环境的优渥，孕育了硕大甜美的牡蛎。了解牡蛎养殖生态，品尝鲜美的牡蛎大餐，来到马公菜园，来一趟牡蛎鲜体验。 跳上随着海潮摇摆的海上平台，手中享受垂钓海鲡鱼的乐趣，徜徉在夏日的澎湖阳光里。
大家好，我是蔡日平。有些数字对于一个人或对于一个社会来讲是有意义的，比如说1981年对我来讲，对台湾来讲就很有意义，因为《天下》杂志在当年创刊了。创刊之后呢，30年来，它引领了台湾社会的一个动向，创造了很多新的一个经济思维的观念。你好奇吗？请收看由我为你主持的文人正事，我们来访问《天下》杂志的创办人殷宇鹏女士。
Welcome back to the final part of today's program here on the Taiwan Outlook. I'm your host, Wu Ruiguo. We'll continue and try to wrap up this very interesting conversation with Miss Michelle Liu, who's the sales manager at the Grand Hotel in Taipei. Boy, we're just having too much fun. Anyway, Michelle, we're going to start off with another picture that you brought with us, and that is the second Chang meeting, but the first ever held in Taipei, which was, of course, at the Grand Hotel. We can see this is a very panoramic view of the lobby. And can you tell us a little bit about the kinds of preparation the hotel might have gone into to make sure that this historic event, was well staged and everything was up to standards?
Right. It was our honor to actually be able to host it this 2008, the second Chang meeting.
Yes.
Yes. And as you can see from the pictures that we have a lot of our important guests and also on the two sides of the important guests.
Yes.
And also a lot of our co-workers are actually showing besides them. Yeah.
Okay. So this is something, of course, we hope that in the future they can make an encore visit and stay at the Grand Hotel as, cross-strait, negotiations continue and intensify in the coming years. And we also understand that this year, 2012, is very important for the Grand Hotel as the hotel celebrates the 60th anniversary. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the programs and activities that you have, planned for this very important occasion?
Yes, it's more than actually we're all very excited to actually accepting the 60th anniversary in the hotel. And we're actually very looking forward the 60th anniversary from last year. We planned a year-long promotion to just celebrate this whole event. And the first, we actually introduced our state banquet feast. Which you probably were enjoying.
Okay, I'm sure of it. Yes.
And then also we have a 60th hour photo contest.
Okay.
And it was ongoing until end of February. And also we have our book that was just published in end of April that I was showing earlier. And we actually have about 3 times raffle drawing, which is all the prizes are very exciting, which for
example?
Round-trip airline tickets.
Good.
And also hotel accommodations, meal coupons, and many more valuable gifts.
Okay, good. And this will go on all year?
All year long.
Okay, good. All right. And Michelle, as we look ahead to the Grand Hotel's next 60 years, we understand the circumstances and the environment are changing, all right? And Taiwan, of course, is very different from 60 years ago when the hotel was first built. And because of, for example, the increase of cross-strait economic relations and the exchanges that are, taking place, we also think that there is a very important role for, Grand Hotel to play in that process. But also by the same, thinking that Taiwan's, tourism business is going up, but at the same time, you have a lot more, international standard hotels that are opening in Taiwan or will be opening in Taiwan very soon. So what are some of the challenges that you think the Grand Hotel will face as you enter into the second 60 years? All right.
The Grand Hotel as we all know, it has been in the Taiwan history for about 60 years. Of course, that the Grand Hotel will facing some challenge facing to the new hotels that established later years.
Okay.
But yet, we all believe the Grand Hotel is irreplaceable because it's a very rich history background and also has a very interesting story, every single part of a hotel that actually sorted this whole hotel into a different type of hotel compared to other hotels.
Okay.
So we see ourselves as our worst enemy.
Okay. So you compete against yourself.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
We're not so much about compete with others because although the Grand Hotel is not international franchise or international chain, but yet the Grand Hotel is up to the standard. We just received our 5-star rating last year.
All right.
And we're really happy about that, being 60 years and we still be, on the top notch.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And what will be some of the, planned renovation or refurbishment projects that the hotel has in terms of making the hotel even more beautiful than it already is today?
Yes, the Grand Hotel understands that we need to maintaining our upscaled service and excluded service to the guests. And we're actually planning to have this renovation. This renovation will be actually focused on our room interior. And then we are planning to see hopefully will be started end of this year. We're planning to spend about $500 million. So approximately about 16.4 US dollars. Yes, this is quite a
sizable budget.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. And this renovation project is going to take what, 2 years to complete?
We hope that it will shorten than 2 years, but we need to see the progress of this whole renovation. But definitely, it's on our top list right now. Is the to-do list.
Yes. Yeah, but this project is going to be carried out in stages, right?
Yes.
It's not all the rooms going to be on the renovation.
We have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3.
But
we hope that we'll be able to do it at one shot. That but because that will be shorten the discomfort during the renovation to the guests. So.
All right. And for the remainder of the program, Michelle, we're going to try to relax you a little bit. That talk about you, all right? And we understand that you went to school at Hawaii, at the Hawaii Pacific University, and you majored in hotel management, and you had a focus on marketing. And you also work at a number of international renowned hotels before coming back to Taiwan a few years ago. Can you tell us a little bit about your prior working experiences at other hotels, and especially since they were all in Hawaii. And Hawaii is, of course, the paradise in the eyes of many Americans. And the setting, the environment was very different. So can you tell us the differences working in other hotels as to compare to the Grand?
Sure. For my own experience, I was very blessed that I would be able to work in one of the most well-known hotel in the Big Island of Hawaii. Yes. And it's actually a Waikoloa Hilton.
Yes.
Waikoloa Hilton is contained with 130,350 rooms, and it's a beautiful hotel and with a lot of natural resources. And I was actually after I graduated from college, that was my first job. So I entered in there as a trainee manager. And but as I can feel being in the hospitality industry, I was lucky enough to work there as my first job because the Hilton actually gave me a very intensive training. So for me to prepare to serve the Grand for now.
That was a very good training.
That was a really good training. And after that, I worked for Sheraton as well. So for working in the Hilton and the Sheraton, compared to working for the Grand, I felt more proud because being a person from Taiwan, that the Grand actually, there's, like I said, is irreplaceable because due to its history. And as I'm very proud to be to be
part of this,
part of the Grand.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why I choose the Grand to work for is because I think not just we're looking at the Sheraton, the Hilton, but yet I believe the Grand will once more to become one of the top hotel in the world again.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure of it. And finally, for the program today, that Michelle, I understand that you are a very driven, person. That you are, very clear about what you want and what you're looking for out of life and your career. And how would you then, in your current capacity as a sales manager for the Grand, how would you, see yourself as the Grand continue to, develop and grow in the next 60 years or even longer? How do you see your role and your, maturation process as a hotel executive continue to grow along with the Grand Hotel?
Yes, I would dedicate myself into the Grand with developing the business between the two sides. As we can see the growth of the Chinese tourists, that will not only help the Grand, but yet help with the whole Taiwan economy.
Yeah, of course.
As a role of being a sales manager in the Grand Hotel, I think this is the biggest part of my responsibilities, helping the revenue goes high.
Yes, of course.
So, yeah, and then I believe that the Grand will continue to serve the guests around the world for many decades to come.
Okay, but in addition to the travelers and guests coming from mainland China, you also have a marketing strategy concerning travelers from other parts of the world. For example, Japanese tourists is also a very important part of Taiwan's tourism industry, and also the FIT travelers from Europe or from the United States. How would you then, as a sales manager, try to balance all these different needs and demands?
Yes. As we all understand, being in a hotel business, we cater all the service to people from around the world, all the guests.
Okay.
For me to think of, Japanese market, international, other European, American travelers, that actually is one of our very important guests. As well.
Of course.
And like I believe or not, that I'm going to the travel fair in Japan in a few days.
Okay.
And then that will, in a way, to leading to promote our hotel in Japan. And then we all wish that to see more Japanese and more international guests that will be able to come and see the beauty of the Grand.
Okay. Well, certainly I'm happy for the Grand Hotel management to have you as part of their staff. I want to wish you all the best in your personal and professional endeavors in the future. Thank you very much, Michelle.
Thank you so much, Raymond.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for watching our program today. I'll see you next time on Microbee Television. Thank you. After being internationally isolated for many decades, Myanmar has been in the news lately because of the parliamentary by-election in April 2012. On the next Taiwan Outlook, we will have Dr. Jin Rongyong, who's currently the Dean of College of Commerce at Chiang University, to discuss the democratic transition in Myanmar and also the state of bilateral relations between Taiwan and Myanmar. I'll see you on Microbee Television.